Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who spoke about the Constitution. The first chance was given to him. I like to read the words, what had been said by Dr. Ambedkar. So I want to feel how did he feel in the words. I would like to say it. I'm going to say it slowly. If any corrections or any wrong words, I'm going to repeat it again. So this is going to the speech. Mr. Chairman, I made it very grateful to you for calling or call me to speak on the resolution. I must, however, confess that my invitation has come to me as surprise. I thought that as there were some 20 or 32 people ahead of me, my turn, if it is done, come at all, would come tomorrow. I would have preferred that as today I have come without any preparation whatsoever. I would have to I to prepare myself as I have intend to make a full statement on the occasion of this sort. So besides you have fixed a time limit of 10 minutes placed under this limitation, I don't know how I could do us justice to the resolution before us. I shall however do my best in condense in a few words as possible that I think about the matter. Mr. Chairman, the resolution in the light of the discussion that has gone on since yesterday obviously divides into two parts. One part which is controversial and other part which is non-controversial. Part which is non-controversial is a part which comprises paragraph 5 to 7 of the resolution. Paragraph set out the objectives of the future constitution of this country. I must confess that coming as a resolution, thus from Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru, who is reputed to the socialist, the resolution, although is non-controversial, is to my mind is very disappointing. I should have expected him to go much further than he has done in that part of resolution. As a student of history, I should have preferred this part of the resolution or being embodied in it at all. When one reads a part of resolution, it reminds one of the Declaration of the Right of the Man, which is pro- pronounced by the French Constitution Assembly. I think I'm right in suggesting that after the lapse of practically 450 years, the Declaration of the Rights of Man, the principle which is embodied in it, has become a part and parcel of our mental makeup. I say they have become not only the part and parcel of the mental makeup of the modern man in every civilized part of the world, but also in our own country, which is so orthodox, so ar- archaic in its thought and its social structure. Hardly anyone can be found to deny its validity. To repeat it now, as the resolution does it, to say the least, the pure pedantry. These principles have been the silent, immaculate commerce of our outlook. It is therefore unnecessary to proclaim as a forming part of our creed. The resolution suffers from certain other lacuna. I find that this part of resolution, although it inoculates the certain rights, does not speak of the remedies. All as we are aware of the fact that rights are nothing unless remedies are provided whereby people can seek to obtain redress when rights are invaded. I find completely absence of remedies. Even the usual formula that no man's life, liberty, and property shall be taken without the due process of law find no place in the resolution. These fundamental rights set out are made subject to the law and morality. Obviously, what is the law? What is morality? Will be determined by the executive of the day, and when the executive take one view, another executive may take another view, and we do not know what executive would be in the position to regard to fundamental rights. If this matter is left to the executive of the day, sir, there are there are here certain provisions would speak of justice, economical, social, and political. If the resolution has a reality behind it and a sincerity of which we have not the least doubt, coming as it does from the mover of resolution, I should have expected some provision whereby it would have been possible for the state to make economic, social, political justice a reality. I should have form that a point view expect the resolution to state most explicit terms that is order that may be a social economic justice in the country. That there shall be a nationalism on the industry and nationalism of the land. I do not understand how it could be possible for any further government which believes in doing justice socially, economical and political, unless the economic is a socialistic economy. Therefore, personally, although I have no objection to the enunciation of these propositions, the resolution is, to my mind, somewhat disappointing. I am, however, prepared to leave the subject where it is with the observation I have made. Now, I come to the first part of resolution, which includes the first four paragraphs. As I said from the debate that has gone on the House, this has become the matter of controversy. The controversy seems to be centered on the use of the word republic. It is centered on the sentence covering in the paragraph 4. The sovereignty is derived from the people. Thereby, it arises from the point made by my friend Dr. Jayakar yesterday. That is, that is, in the absence of Muslim League, it would not be proper for the Assembly to proceed with the deal with this resolution. Now, sir, I have got not the slightest doubt in my mind as the future evolution and ultimate shape of the social, political, economic structures of this great country. I know today we are divided politically, socially, and economically. We are a group of warning camps. I may go even to the extent of confessing that I am probably one of the leaders of such camp. Sir, with all this, I'm quite convinced that given time and circumstances, nothing in the world will prevent this country from becoming one. With all our caste and creeds, I have not the slightest hesitation that we shall, in some form of united people. I have no hesitation saying that nothing standing the agitation of the Muslim League for the partition of India. Someday enough light would dawn upon the Muslims themselves, and they will too begin to think that united India is better even for them. So far as the ultimate goal is concerned, I think none of us need to have any apprehensions. None of us need have any doubt. Our difficulty is not only with the ultimate future, our difficulty is how to make the heterogeneous mass that we have today take a decision in a common and a march on the way which leads to us to unite. Our difficulty is not with the regard of ultimate, our difficulty is that regarding to the beginning. Mr. Chairman, therefore, I should have thought that the order I make us willingly friends. In order to introduce every party, every section in this country to take on the road, it would be an act of greatest statesmanship for the majority party, even to make a concession to the prejudices of the people who are not prepared to march together, as it is for that. And I propose to make this appeal. Let us leave aside slogans. Let us leave aside a word with the frightened people. Let us even make a concession to the prejudice of our opponents. Bring them in so that they will be willing to join with us marching upon that road. With, as I said, if we walk along enough, must necessarily lead us to unite. If I therefore from this place support Dr. Jayakumar's amendment, it is because I want all of us to realize that whether we are right or wrong, whether the partition that we take in the consents with our legal rights, whether that agreed to the statement of May 16th or December 6th, leave all aside, this is too big a question to be treated as a matter of legal right. It is not a legal question at all. We should leave aside all the legal consideration and make some attempts, whereby those who are not prepared to come will come. Let us make it possible for them to come. That is my opinion. In the course of the debate that took place, there are two questions which are aware arise. These which struck me so well that I took the trouble of taking them down on a piece of paper. The one question was, I think, by my friend Prime Minister of Bihar who spoke yesterday in the assembly. He said, how can this resolution prevent the league from coming into the constitution? into the Constitutional Assembly. Today, my friend Dr. Shama Prasad Mukherjee asked another question: is this the resolution is inconsistent with the cabinet mission proposal? Sir, I think they are very important questions, and they ought to be answered and answered categorically. I do maintain that these resolution, whether it is intent to bring about a result or not, whether it is a result of cold calculation or whether it is a mere matter of accidents, is bound to have a result of keeping the Muslim League out. In this connection, I should think of inviting your attention to paragraph 3 of the resolution, which I think is very significant and very important. The paragraph 3 envisages, envisages the future constitution of India. I do not know what is the intention of more resolution, but I take it that after this resolution is passed, it will act as some sort of directive to the Constitution Assembly to frame a constitution in the term para 3 of the resolution. What does a para 3 say? Para 3 says that in this country there shall be two different set of policies. One at the bottom, autonomous provisions of the states or such other areas are the care to join the United India. These autonomous units will have the full power. They will have also residuary powers. At the top, over the provisional units, there will be an union government having certain subjects for legislation, for execution, and for administration. So I read this part of the resolution. I do not find any reference to the idea of grouping an intermediate structure between the union and on the hand and the provisions on the other hand. Reading this para in the light of the cabin mission statement, or reading it even in the light of resolution passed by the Congress at the Varta session, I must confess that I am great deal surprised at the absence of any reference to the idea of grouping the provisions. So far as I personally concerned, I do not like the idea of grouping. I like a strong united care, much stronger than the center we had created under the government of India Act 1935. But sir, these opinions, these wishes has no bearing on the situation at all. We have traveled a long road. The Congress party, for reasoning the best known as itself concerns, if I may use this expression, to the dismantling of the strong center which had created in this country is a result of 150 years of administration, which I must say was to me a matter of great admiration and respect and refuge. But having given up that position, having said that we do not want a strong center and having accepted that there must be or should be an intermediate policy or a sub-federation between the union government and the provincials, it would like to know why there is no reference to the para 3 to the idea of grouping. I quite understand that the Congress Party, the Muslim League, and his majestic governments are not at idiom on the interpretation of this clause relating to this group, but I always thought that I am prepared to stand corrected if it is shown that I was wrong. At least it is agreed by the Congress Party that if the provision which is placed within the different groups concerned to form a union or a sub-freedom, the Congress would have no objection to the proposal. I believe I am correct in interpreting the mind of the Congress Party. The question I ask in this: why did not the more of the resolution make reference to the idea of union of provisions or grouping of the provisions on the terms of which he or his party was prepared to accept it? Why the idea of union completely affected from the resolution? I find no answer, none whatsoever. I thereby say in answer to two questions which have been posed here in the Assembly by the Prime Minister of Bihar and Dr. Shyam Prasad Mukherjee as to how this resolution is inconsistent with the statement of May 16 and how this resolution is going to prevent the Muslim League from entering into the Constitution Assembly. This para 3, which is a Muslim League, is bound to take advantage and justify its continued absentation. So, my friend Dr. Jayakumar Jayakar Actually, in arguing this case for postponing a decision on the issue, put this case as, if I may say so, without offense to him. Somewhat in the legalistic matter, the basis of the argument was, have you a right to do so? He read out certain provision from the statement of the cabinet minister which related to the procedural part of constitutional assembly, and the contention was that the procedure that this constitutional assembly was adopting in the deciding upon the resolution straightway was inconsistent with the procedure that was laid down in the paper, sir. I like to put the matter in somewhat different way. The way I like to put it in this, I am not asking you to consider whatever you have the right to pass a resolution straight away or not. It may be that you have the right to do so. The question I'm asking is this: it is a prudent for you to do so. It is the wish of you to do so. Power is one thing, wisdom is a quite different thing, and I want this house to consider the matter of point of view. Namely, whatsoever it would be the wise, whether it be a statesman like, whether it be prudent to do so at this stage. Answer that I give is that it would not be prudent, it not be wise. I suggest another attempt may be made to bring about the solution of dispute between Congress and the Muslim League. This subject is so vital, so important that I'm sure it could never be decided on the more basis of dignity of one party or the dignity of another party. When deciding the destinies of the nations and dignities of the people and dignities of the leaders and dignities of the party ought to count for nothing. This dignity of the countries ought to count for everything. It is because I feel that it would be the interest not only of the Constitution Assembly so that it may function as one whole. So this it may have reaction of the Muslim League before it proceeds to the decision that I support Dr. Jaikumar amendment. We must also consider that is going to happen with regard to the future if we act precipitately. I do not know what plans Congress party which holds his house in its possession has its mind. I have no power of divination to know what they are thinking about, what are their tactics, what are their strategy. I do not know. But applying my mind on the outsider to issue what has arisen, it seems to me there are only three ways by which the future may be decided. Either there shall have been surrendered by one party to vice the other, the one way. The other way should be that I call negotiate peace. The third way would be open war. Sir, I have been hearing certain members of the Constitution Assembly that they are prepared to go to war. I must confess that I am appalled at the idea that anybody in this country should think of solving the political party of the country by the method of war. I do not know how many people in this country support that idea. The good many perhaps do that. The reason why I think they do it is because most of them are at the rate of great many of them believe that the war that they are thinking of would be the war of the British. Well, sir, if the war that is contemplated, that is the mind of the people, can be localized, circumcised, so it will not be more than a war of the British. I probably may not have much objection to this sort of strategy, but I will it be a war on the British only. I have no hesitation. I do not want to place before this house in the clearest term possible that if war comes in this country, if that war has any relation to the issue with which it is country today, it will not be the war on British. It will be the war on Muslims. It will be the war on the Muslims, or which is probably worse. It will be the war on combination of the British and Muslims. I cannot see how this contemplated war be the sort difference. For what I fear it will be so. I like to read the House a passage from Duke's great speech on Constitution with America. I believe this may have some effect upon the temper of this House. The British people, as you know, were trying to conquer the rebellious colonies of the United Nations and bring them under the subject contrary to their wishes. The repelling this idea of conquering the colonies, This is what proves it. First, so permit me to observe that the use of force alone is but temporary. I may subdue for a moment, but it does not remove the necessity of subduing again. And nation is not governed with perpetually to conquer. My next objection is its uncertainty. Terror is not always a effect of force, and amendment it's not a victory. If you do not succeed, you are without resources for or concealing the failing force remain. But force failing is no further hope of reconciliation is left. Power and authority are something bought by the kindness, but they are never be picked as arms by improvised and defeated violence. Further objective to force is that I impair of the objective by your very enduring to preserve it. Thing you fought for, not the thing which is you recover, but depreciated, sunk, waste, and consumed in the contest. These are the weighty words which would be an perilous to ignore. If there's anybody who has it in mind and project of solving Hindu-Muslim problem by force, which is another name of solving it by war, in order that the Muslim may be subdued and made to surrender to the country constitution that might be prepared without the consent. The country would be involved in actual conquering them, the contest would not be the one and forever. I do not wish to take more time that I have taken. I will conclude by again referring to Brooke. The Brooke has said somewhere that it is easy to give power, it is difficult to give wisdom. Let us prove by our conduct that if the assembly has arrogated to itself sovereign powers, it will prepare to exercise them with wisdom. That is the only way by which we can carry with all the section of this country. There is no other way that can lead to us to unite. Let us have no doubt on that point. Thank you.